Yeah.
Well, as long as we're on thefts and police and all that kind of stuff, Madison Police is getting new guns. Did you hear about this?
I did, but please continue.
They have worked out a deal. This seems to be a no-brainer. Actually, Madison Police had been issued Glock 45s, and they made a deal with Glock where Glock is going to take back all of the Madison Police 45s and some guns they have in evidence lockup, and going to issue the police brand new Glock 40s. Now, why the difference? It's not that much of a difference in caliber or whatever. The difference is a box of ammunition for a 45, $40. A box of ammunition for a 40, $20. I think they're going to save about $5,000 a year.
Okay.
Just changing out the ammunition and being able to change out the ammunition at no cost to the taxpayer.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah. So it's not a huge savings, but nevertheless, they worked out a deal with Glock so that it is a wash. The city doesn't have to pay anything.
Let me get your opinion on this.
All right.
Is the 40 available, the 40 caliber, available to the general public?
Yes.
Okay. Would it be, I know, and again, this is just curious, it's a sticky situation. What if they were to create a weapon that for the police officers that is custom made for military, like say, again, I'm throwing, a 40, a caliber gun that is only available to the military? Would that help? And that you could only get the bullets through police issue and that kind of thing?
Maybe. It would depend.
I mean, it wouldn't cut down. I'm thinking just tracing, but of course, then it'd cost more, wouldn't it?
It would cost more and everything else, and besides, they can always do the ballistics on the police officer's gun when it's actually time to start tracing out bullets. The 40 is probably not as popular as some of the other rounds, but it's popular enough that it's cheaper than the 45.
True. But you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, though,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
I like the Glock 40.
Tracing, but I guess gun tracing has actually become easier as long as, with the registration and yada, yada, yada.
We're in a much easier position now with the technology that exists than we were a long time ago.
I completely forgot to mention last night's Monday Night Football game. Shame on me.
Football?
I know, and it was a...
Well, part of the problem
was supposed to be a big game.
Yeah, but part of the problem was only one team showed up.
Okay. It's a rivalry-style game between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. And they were just touting, the Vikings are going to get after the Packers, and the Packers' defense has been kind of lackluster lately. Right. Tell that to Aaron Rodgers. Final score, 45-7. Packers continue to
and it wasn't that close.
Continue their win streak. They're undefeated. Aaron Rodgers threw for 4 more touchdowns last night. The guy's on pace, possibly. I don't want to. Well, you know what? I am going to jinx it. He could break Tom Brady's record of the most number of touchdowns thrown in a single season. There was a stat I saw that through the season that Tom Brady threw his record number of touchdowns, which I believe is in the high is 50. He had 9 games where he's threw 3 or more in the entire season. Aaron Rodgers has already thrown 7.
Wow.
7 games with 3 or more touchdowns. So.
Wow.
So I see that, knowing that the Vikings are not a horrible team. I did see a little bit of the game.
Did you see the amazing catch that got pulled back?
No.
And I wish I could
remember I saw the beginning. I saw the beginning.
Okay, this was toward the end, and the catch was behind the defender's back. And when the offensive player, the receiver, turned in to catch it, the defender was worried about a pass interference call and threw his hands up to show that he wasn't doing anything. And as he threw his hands up, the receiver reached around behind him and caught the ball against the defender's back. Beautiful catch. Then rolled them both down and came up with the ball. Beautiful catch. I wish I could remember which team it was. I honestly don't, because the very next thing was offsides. Play was called back.
No, for offsides. Oh, you got to hate that.
One of those best plays ever that didn't count kind of situations. So
I'll have to pull up the highlights again.
There was somebody who got a chewing out after that. Did you see the catch I made? And you made it go away.
Offensive lineman, you and your offsides. Actually, offsides could have been going on anybody on that. If it was an offsides.
It was offsides or false start. I don't remember now. So. But the point being that a yellow, one of those little guys with the stripy shirts threw one of those yellow flags, and it didn't count.
Stripy shirt. Do a yellow flag. At least he got that one right. Where to go to next?
I have no idea.
We got lots of fun ones here. If you want to see our governor, Robert Bentley, he's going to be on TV tonight, national TV.
National TV.
Yes,
What's
he'll
he
be
doing
on a
national
new. There's a
TV?
new show on another network that I'm not sure we're going to say just yet, called Rock Center.
Oh yeah, I heard
Yes.
about this. Yeah.
He's going to be on tonight at 9. He was interviewed by one of their correspondents about the immigration law and its effects on the state's agricultural community. So if you'd like to see his take on it and see what kind of spin they put on it,
Okay.
because I'm sure it'll be some kind of spin, thanks to the national media. Probably poking fun at the sleeping bear. That is the Deep South. And you can watch it, or if you can be like me and
But you
say, you know
know-
what, I don't care enough to know what the national media thinks about that. kind of thing.
Arkansas had the tough immigration, not Arkansas, Arizona, long before Alabama did.
Yep. Well, they're getting it too. They're catching flack as well, but
So it's not a Southern thing; it's just an intelligence thing.
I don't know technically.
Oh, was that out loud?
Oh, nice. Well, technically, Arizona is southern
South-
part of the United States.
Southwest.
If you draw a straight line across the country,
I
they'd be
guess.
fall, the equal amount on
Wait,
one side or the other. They'd be on the southern
makes you
section, so-
wonder if the reason that northern states, if we draw that line, that northern states have more of a problem with these immigration laws than southern states is because the southern states are bordering Mexico and the northern states are bordering those rambunctious Canadians that are coming across the border. In
Eh?
droves.
Take that Mason-Dixon line and draw it straight across. Follow it all the way across the country and see what happens.
Well, part of the Mason-Dixon line goes north and south.
Well, because it does one of these numbers, but
No,
primarily
because
it goes.
one of these numbers. It's an L.
Yes, I know, but it generally goes east-west.
Generally. We're arguing over the Mason-Dixon line.
Really?
In 2011. Let's move on.
Hey, okay. I'm gonna, for full disclosure, I grew up in Maryland. It was a big part of our
Oh, of
state's
course,
history.
because it's
so
defining
it
the
is.
state.
It is in fact the border.
It is the border of
Yeah,
Maryland.
between Pennsylvania and Maryland, and
Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia, and
yeah, Virginia. Yeah, it's all up there, but it's yeah. So
Delaware
anyway.
or somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, where to go? What have you got? Anything?
I could do my
We got
conspiracy
lots.
theory of the day.
Can you do it in 5 minutes?
Yes, that's about all I have on.
I don't know. I think that could be more fun.
Oh, we'll do it after the break then.
But let's.
Supreme Court, Obamacare.
Sure. Supreme Court Obamacare.
Yeah, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear, and we'll begin hearing oral arguments in March on Obamacare. It looks like 26 different states and a business group has asked for the law to be struck down. Specifically, what they're complaining about is the individual mandate, where the law says that every American citizen must go out and purchase health care. Is that constitutional? That is the fundamental question going before the court.
So they're for forcing people.
Forcing people to purchase, yes.
Okay.
It's not a choice. You have to buy it or you end up paying a penalty. So there will be 5.5 hours of oral arguments in March. They expect to render a judgment in July, just before the election.
Oh, the primaries. How many
before the
states
election.
have
26 different states have asked for it to be.
that explains that alone right there. If you want to go simple majority, is why it's come up. More than 50% of the states have said
Well, it's
this needs
actually
to be
gone
revisited.
before two courts already, and one court struck it down and another court upheld it, which is why the Supreme Court's getting involved, because the courts are divided
Okay.
as to whether or not, and what could come out of this is any number of things. They could do away with the individual mandate, which fundamentally undermines the entire Obamacare concept. If I don't have to buy it, then it's not universal. So it would undermine the entire process of Obamacare. It would be devastating to the bill, to the law. It could do the whole law, say this whole law is unconstitutional, or of course it could uphold it. And I tell you, on political lines, there's 4 that always go conservative, 4 that always go liberal, and 1 semi-conservative that swings. So it's kind of iffy on
Yeah,
political
this is gonna be a
lines.
tough one.
On constitutional lines, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's near unanimous in either direction. I've heard some really strong arguments in both ways. However, I come down on the fact that the federal government shouldn't be able to tell me what I have to buy.
Right.
That fundamentally is illegal and should be declared unconstitutional. But whatever happens, I don't know. I think that the fact that his big push, Obama's big push, has now gone to the Supreme Court, I don't see how it helps Obama. I could be wrong.
The fact that it's controversial enough.
That 26 states have rejected it and are trying to get it declared unconstitutional.
And this has kind of been my point, that if somebody wants, they want to come out and help these people who can't afford whatever health care, then those are the people who then need to step up and be volunteer or
right.
I come back to people like Warren Buffett and what was it that Matt Damon threw out there too. You have the money to fully fund a medical facility for a year, make one film, whatever. You could probably fund it for multiple years.
Right.
You can afford to put your money where your mouth is.
Well.
Great. The rest of us can't. But I don't think that the federal government has the right to demand that you fund that medical facility.
Well, not even the medical facility. They're saying they're demanding that you must buy insurance. It's not like a car. You don't have to own a car.
Oh, yeah. What I was saying was just access to medical. To
You know what the single largest charity in the United States is? ALSAC.
What's that?
American Libyan, Syrian related charities. American, Libyan, and Syrian related charities is the largest charity in the United States.
Define largest charity.
Most money coming in.
From where?
From all over the country. You've given to it. I know you have.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
They're the sole supporter of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospitals.
Sole supporter?
Yes. They are the funding arm for St. Jude's.
I'm not following.
They raise money for St. Jude's.
Okay.
That's all they do. That's the only charity they support, St. Jude's Children's Research
Now explain
Hospital.
to everybody how you know this.
I work there. And Danny Thomas started ALSAC because he also started St. Jude's in Memphis, and he started ALSACs as this foundation to raise money for St. Jude's. And it's the single largest charity in the United States, and it provides health care to anybody regardless of their ability to pay. Any child. Let me rephrase that. Any child.
Right.
Now, their specialty, of course, is leukemia. That is what Danny Thomas saw as... Danny Thomas was a famous actor here in the United States. He died not too terribly long ago. What, 96, 97, something like that.
I don't know. You worked with the guy.
Yeah, I never worked with the guy. And he picked a disease that scientists told him was curable. When he started St. Jude's in '52, it was not, and then he went on to where now it's 90%. So my point being, I'm backing you up a little bit in a roundabout way. I know we're overdue for a break. Is that there are charities out there who are taking care of kids, who are taking care of people, who are taking care of things. Why can't we focus on those successful charities and figure out what they're doing right and how we can expand their work as opposed to coming in and taking at the point of a gun my money to help somebody else?
Which is what I said.
ALSAC raises billions of dollars a year. Billions.
Well, that's my point. There are people and companies out there that are willing that will take your money that you donate of your own free will,
exactly,
and help those less fortunate.
Exactly.
I would rather not be. I would be happier about giving my money if I was allowed to give my money.
And a lot of people don't even know what the L and the S in ALSAC stood for. And today it might have a more negative connotation than when Danny Thomas started it, but it is the largest charity in the United States. Raises more money than any other charity.
Right.
So there you have it.
Well, regardless, the point,
and it's charity. That's the whole point.
That's the whole point too. Why they're called charities.
Exactly.
Anyway, again, out of the kindness of our hearts, rather than
way over.
Well, not that far over, but we are over. It's 11:32. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Mike has more on some conspiracies, plus how Alabama has collected the lowest taxes of any state in the union. Find out more when we come back on the Water Cooler.